All right, you guys, what's going on? Behind me is the 2022 Volvo V90 Cross Country. So it is lifted a little bit versus the standard V90. We're gonna go for a drive today. We're gonna see how it stacks up against the XC60 that I drove a couple weeks ago. I know. This car is not the most exciting. I'm gonna try my best to make it exciting. This is one of those cars that the excitement really comes in. It's on you. You have to go somewhere, hit a trail or something to actually make the V90 really stand out and show you what it's all about. So starting at $65,950 Canadian MSRP for the V90 Cross Country. This one in front of me, or actually it's behind me, is spec'd out to $77,000 Canadian. So it does have quite a few options, including massage seats, which are just the best. So let's get in, let's go for a drive and see how it does. All right, you guys, welcome back to the show. We've got another brand new Volvo for you guys today. This all started, you guys, if you haven't seen the video, you should go watch it now, with the V70R, okay? 5-speed, turbocharged, 5-cylinder, actually 6-speed, 6-speed turbocharged 5-cylinder, a great wagon. You know, it really took me back to the golden era of analog wagons, but that's the car that started this all. I drove the XC60. The V90 Cross Country here is taller than the standard V90, and of course, being up here in the Pacific Northwest, that's kind of the standard. It also comes standard with all-wheel drive. So the V90 Cross Country, this thing, first off, is massive. This is, I don't know if it comes across on camera, but this has got to be one of the biggest, most authentic, classic kind of wagon shapes that any manufacturer is making still here in 2022. It's so big, it's so wide, and actually surprisingly aggressive, especially when it comes to the rear quarter panels and that signature kind of Volvo design language of those hips that kind of contour with the tail lights. And we saw that in the XC60, saw it on the V70R back in the day. It's about 250 millimeters longer than that XC60 crossover. It is, however, a couple hundred pounds lighter. So that's definitely a desirable trait, and something with a little bit lower center of gravity, and something that does a little bit better, not as well maybe as the standard lowered ride height V90 wagon around corners, but still better than something like a crossover. The powertrain here in the V90 is the exact same twin-charged inline 4 as was in that XC60. So twin-charged, it's turbocharged and supercharged, and it has a mild hybrid 48-volt system. How this twin charging system works and why it is implemented with the 48-volt charging system is to basically just provide the most seamless driving experience one could possibly imagine, in conjunction with the 8-speed auto. So the supercharger is electric. It's an electric supercharger that effectively boosts the air before it goes into the turbo, before the turbo has time to spool up. And then once we're at full tilt above a certain RPM, the supercharger stops putting in work. At that point, the turbocharger has room to do its job. But twin charging just provides is effectively the most predictable and flat torque curve and power band. It puts out 295 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque, plus a little horsepower boost from that electronic hybrid system. I mean, it's kind of crazy though. Volvo has absolutely, you know, taken hold of this whole luxury segment, but with an air of safety and simplicity. And I think that's what's inevitably going to carry them over through with their efficiency into the EV world that we're kind of diving into now. I mean, the car is quick. it's absolutely quick enough here. Interesting fact about the V90, this car I found out is actually limited to 180 kilometers an hour. I don't know if that's just for the North American market. I've never seen any vehicle, brand new vehicle, that's limited to 180 kilometers an hour. That's less than 115 miles an hour. That is not, dare I say, fast. It's fast. That's fast, but it's not. You know, most cars are kind of the standard are limited at 155 miles an hour. To me, that kind of makes sense. But here, fun fact, it is limited to 180 kilometers an hour. No, I will not be testing that out today. Wagons, like I said, are a trend that seem to have kind of gone out of favor, especially here in North America. I just don't think most people need the extra ride height. And what the V90 Cross Country does is it's like, well, hey, you can have a lower center of gravity. You don't have to climb in and climb out. You don't have to use that word climb to describe how you're getting in and out of your vehicle, but you can still have the ground clearance that you're going to need, not in excess, with the added ride height we have in the cross country here, right? Which is just, I think this is, Volvo's like, hey, this is what you guys really need. You guys want to put your dogs in the back. Actually, that brings me to this cage that flips down in the back that is, I'm assuming, is for animals. You can put back there and cage them up so they're not jumping all over you and ruining your Napa leather seats. Which brings me to the interior here. Wow, what a segue. You might be wondering, $65,000 starting, okay. $77,000 optioned out here. This is basically the highest spec model we can get. We do have the Bowers & Wilkins stereo option, which is bumping, by the way. That is a $3,700 option. All these are in Canadian dollars, if you haven't figured it out yet. And then we have real wood on the interior, which is something very rare nowadays that I can appreciate. As I mentioned in the XC60 video, we've got the added touch of the Swedish flag on the seats here, which is great. Napa leather seats. And of course, the massage function, which has been fitted here. That is also definitely an option with the heated and ventilated seats, which are controlled on this touch screen here. But the massage function, actually going to turn those off. The massage function is controlled on the side of the seat, so it is where the seat controls are. Now these seats are incredibly customizable. We've got crazy lumbar adjustments. Everything is controlled here on this screen. You just tap down. There's your bolsters, there's your lumbar, there's your front control. What Volvo's done here is gone the opposite way of the Germans in many ways. The digital display here, for example, only has two settings. You get nav in the middle, and you don't see the exact RPMs, numbers at least, on the right, and your speed on the left. And then you hit it once, the map goes away, and then you can see exactly what you're revving to and your speedometer. Very simple. 8-speed auto, there's no paddle shifters. There are no paddle shifters here. There are also no drive modes. There's no sport mode, there's no comfort mode. It's taken away a lot of the cumbersome kind of controls that can have the potential to be cumbersome, depending on what you like in a vehicle, of the German vehicles that have added in so many options, so much tech, and just buttons and menus that you could play with until the end of time. But here, like I said, very simple. Most things are controlled on this touchscreen here. It's all Google based basically, so the map system is Google Maps. It works great, very intuitive. And then you have your temperature on the bottom of this screen, which is always there and quick to adjust, and you can easily adjust your heated steering wheel and heated seats there. But if you want to change the fan speed or where the air is directed or turn on the AC, you do have to bring up this climate menu here. So that is one extra step. But the car rides great. I definitely, absolutely have noticed it feels quicker here. Here, we'll go into manual mode, which, as I mentioned in the XC60 video, to do a manual shift with the 8-speed auto, yeah, there are no paddle shifters. You can still shift down here, right to shift up and left to shift down instead of pulling it back to shift up and forward to shift down. So that took a little bit to get used to, but you know, it's Volvo. It's a Swedish manufacturer. They're doing their own thing. They're out here in the wild, the only ones really hanging on to this practical wagon. Even Subaru, for the most part, has ditched a wagon, at least with a fun to drive, as fun as it can get, automatic transmission. They're all CVTs, right? So Volvo actually has some semblance of driving continuity, a little bit left over here for the driver. And they're, you know, it comes through the chassis. I can absolutely feel the weight difference between this and the XC60. This is much quicker, especially from, let's say, a dig to 80 kilometers an hour. Seamless power. Absolutely seamless power. You know, there are those couple things that don't really make sense to me, like the shifter shifting left to shift down. I enjoy that there's no drive modes. It's just steering firmness or off-road mode if you're going on a bit of an adventure. It's soft, but nice suspension travel, very comfortable. But you can option the Volvo a little bit less expensive than $77,000. I think it is fairly expensive here when you compare it to other comparable luxury SUVs. Luxury wagons. I think Volvo has a great product here. Oh, one thing also that they changed from the XC60 to here, the center console. That was one of my complaints, was that they had this kind of plastic material surround on that car, but this has this leather surround that continues versus that plastic. So that's very nice, and they got rid of the crystal shift knob there as well. So that's kind of nice. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the V90 Cross Country. Not something I would normally drive, but we took it out anyways, and I think it's if you need the room, if you need the space, look no further. This is a spaceship from Volvo. This is a massive, incredibly long, borderline bus of a vehicle here. And I think it serves a very niche in the market, and I think there are just so many buyers that are looking for exactly what the V90 puts out. But thanks guys for watching. Hit me up on Instagram if you haven't already. Subscribe. I'm about to go drive Hans Veilside RX-7, so if you're interested in the more fun stuff like that, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you guys very soon.